Hello and welcome to Goalie Interference, along with our friend Mike McKenna, brought to you by the Jimison Law Firm. As always, Mike, it's December 2nd, so I can officially say happy holidays.
Well, thank you very much. We've gotten through Thanksgiving, and I decided since, I didn't get to have the mustache for all of November. I don't know why I didn't. I shaved it at the end. I thought, let's take it into December. So here we are.
I think it looks great.
I appreciate that. I'm not sure everybody in my life agrees, but some do. So I'll take it as is, and it's just kind of fun to play around like this. This is the type of stuff I probably could have never done while I was actually on TV. So I'll take it.
Well, I've noticed the mustache is very big in hockey. It's not big in other sports, but hockey for sure.
Well, I think it came from the whole Movember movement. A lot of it had to do with hockey. And I think back even to Jonas Hiller years ago when he was with the Anaheim Ducks, had every single player on his team painted onto his mask with a mustache on their face. And it raised money through charity through it. And so, whatever reason, Movember kind of became a thing in hockey and, raising money through charities. And I think it's just fun though, too. I mean, dude, there's been some pretty unbelievable dusters in the hockey years, like Glenn Anderson with the Oilers and just Lanny McDonald, Calgary Flames, like just unbelievable soup strainers that have been in the hockey world. And I'm happy some people, Stuart Skinner, goalie for the Edmonton Oilers, guy's got an unbelievable push broom. So some guys are trying to make a comeback with it. Mine's going to be very brief. Obviously, yours is just not there at all. So kudos to you for staying strong.
Yeah, my wife wouldn't allow it to go for too long. So, I got to clean up at least once a week.
Yeah.
So, but listen, let's get to what happened this week. There's a lot of hockey that had been played. Maybe would you call it good hockey? I'm not sure, but let's start with the Pacific Division. This is not your grandfather's Pacific Division. Oh, the goal.
I just thought I'd toss it up there, We got to get in a festive mood here. So let's go to the Pacific. What's going on?
Yeah, this is not what people thought of, the normal Pacific, the Vegas walking through their schedule. This is different.
Big time. And I tell you what, I'll come right out and say it that I do have worries about the Vegas Golden Knights with playoffs because teams are playing that well in the Pacific Division. Like, this isn't just a case of Vegas having to get through the injuries, the COVID protocol that they've had with players and pick up points, and they'll be fine on the backside. That's not it right now. San Jose is playing pretty good hockey, and you've got Anaheim not just inspired, like they're playing structured hockey, and they're playing with speed, and they're dialing down on what other teams are doing. They look very organized, as we saw last night against the Golden Knights for most of the game. So I hesitate to think that it's a layup that the Golden Knights are going to be in playoffs. I still think they will. I truly believe that. But I'm starting to have more concerns just looking at it now. Dude, Calgary's a wagon, man. That team's good. Watching them play Pittsburgh the other night, Pittsburgh's not bad now. And Calgary just went up and down the ice with them as Tristan Jarry hadn't played so well. They'd have been out of it. So it just makes it more fun, though. I tell you what, if you get out of the West now, it's not just a cakewalk. You actually have to play good hockey to make playoffs and carry that through playoffs. So let's look at the positive of that. Maybe that's good for the Golden Knights, right? Maybe it's better that they're playing tougher teams in their own division than they have in the past, because we've seen in the last couple of years in playoffs what it's looked like when they finally get out of division.
And, one thing about that is we've seen that, obviously Vegas can handle these teams. But like you said, they've never had a clear path as easy maybe as the past 2 years. And this year, I'm not sure, like you're saying, it's not going to be the easiest first two rounds of the playoffs. Let's just say they worst case scenario, they have a wild card position. The first two rounds are very tough. And maybe, like you said, that could help them in the third round or the semifinals, whatever you want to call it, from last year. But they still have to score. And that's the thing that I'll always be concerned with is Pacioretty and Stone not getting on the board down the stretch in a series. And, that we could talk about Anaheim or whoever they get matched up against. It's going to be if it comes down to scoring or not.
It is. And I think we can take a quick look. Jason, you are right there. Oh, we've got a guest on the show. Hi.
She should be asleep right now, but
I thought I saw a thumbs up from her. You look very adorable. And hockey and your mini sticks. That is so cute.
yep.
Oh,
She's
man.
okay, Mom, please get her.
So let's go back to what we were talking about before your daughter made that such an awesome cameo. We need more of that. It's not going to be easy, but there is some hope on the horizon here, and might be jumping the gun in the rundown, but we did see a certain somebody on the ice taking a couple laps, moving his feet. Guy named Jack, Mr. Eichel. So I know that there's a hesitancy to think of Pacioretty and Stone because they just didn't show up the last couple playoffs. Pacioretty played injured though, like I feel like both years. The last two he wasn't 100%. But this should be a lineup by come playoff time. It should be, but we don't know. We don't know what it's going to look like. We still potentially have an Olympic break, an All-Star game. I don't know if we're going to the Olympics at this point. I'll say that right now. But
I mean, what team wants to send their players there, knowing that hey, it's a little bit more serious now. We've seen a spike, and also the fact that guys might, if they do come down with a positive test, they might have to stay there.
That's the big thing. I mean, I think the players at first were thinking of this like, okay, we're going to get through this year. COVID's going to pretty much be going away, except for a couple of isolated cases here and there, and we're all going to go to China. We got good protocol, and we're going to be fine. And I think that tide, if I'm in a locker room now, is shifting to thinking, man, as many cases as we're seeing, I can't get stuck in China for 3 weeks when my goal is to win a Stanley Cup and be away from my family for almost a month. Like,
it's almost like another bubble.
That doesn't sound very desirable to me, and that's coming from somebody who's never had the pleasure of wearing his country's uniform as bad as I wanted to, and came close a couple occasions with world championships. And 2018 Olympics actually was, if I'd signed an American League contract instead of NHL, I would have gone for the US team, which is kind of weird to think about.
Oh, but man, that's an interesting little nugget there.
It is. And I could tell you all the reasons why I decided to not pursue that avenue. First, really, I thought the 2018 Olympics were going to be a joke in ice hockey, and they were a joke. It was a joke. I mean, the players that were there were NHL players.
Right.
But I'd be so hesitant to go, man. Like, I honestly don't know how I could look at my family and say, like, okay, I'm going to China. I hope I don't get sick. I'll see you in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But it might be a month and a half, or, like, dude, I was away from my family for 32 days at one point last year, and it was supposed to be 21. It went to 32, and I was pulling my hair out, So I
couldn't imagine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then the other thing is, obviously the All-Star break is there as well, the All-Star game and weekend. We're going to have all the same players basically, right, in the All-Star game, and then preparing to go to the Olympics. There's a lot of question marks there. I don't know how the NHL, I mean, what usually happens here? Can the NHL bail now, or is it too late?
Well, the Olympics, they got until June 10th. That's their drop dead date on this, but they have had games postponed. Ottawa postponed, Long Island postponed. Now you're starting to even see a trickle up effect from the American Hockey League at this point. Like, the Providence Bruins are completely on lockdown, and the Boston Bruins can't recall anybody.
Right.
So, like, it's a double whammy, man. Like, you get a couple of COVID cases on your big club, but you can't bring anybody up. How are you going to play? Like, there's real things to think about here.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, I'm confident the All-Star game's okay. I am, because I think there's the priority on that for the league to get that done, and at least it's stateside. It's in North America. I don't think the players are going to be able to go out on the strip and do everything they want. I mean, I think they're going to have to be pretty locked down for this event, and yet again, just eat it for the betterment of the game. You think coming to Vegas, we're going to have a great time. Best All-Star game ever. Guys are going to be saucing pucks up and down the strip in the skills comp. And, like, a lot of that stuff just straight up isn't going to happen, I don't think, which is a shame. But it's the on-ice product that we should really be excited about, I think, for that event.
How many guys could skip it. I mean, we've seen it in the past where, where they get suspended one game either before or after the All-Star break. I could see a handful of guys saying, you know what, either I'm going to the Olympics or, you know what, I don't want to risk anything. And maybe they turn down the invitation. Do you think you'll see a little bit more of that?
I wouldn't expect any more than normal. Like in all honesty, All-Star games are pretty easy on you. Like I played in an ECHL All-Star game and an AHL All-Star game, and they're kind of similar to the NHL where you fly in the day before or the day of, you go out, you do the skills comp, you play the next day and you get out of there. It's probably more taxing on your body what you do off the ice because it turns into a big party. But I'm not sure how many of the 23-year-old video gamers are going to party anymore, right? Like things are way different, but like, dude, I remember the one ECHL All-Star game we had was the goalie union. There was Devin Dubnik, myself, Cedric Desjardins, who played some NHL games, Adam Burkle played some NHL games, and a couple other guys. And like, we just roved like all around up Boise, Idaho, and we had so much fun. But I remember getting on the flight the next day and everybody was just looking around going, that might've been a little too much fun. But
and imagine, I mean, like you said, that's in Boise. And if this was a normal year, oh man, the strip would be a little
Boise's
bit
a sleeper city though. Boise's a really fun town. Yeah, it is for real. Like there's actually been players that played for the Steelheads in the ECHL that end up retiring there. Like it's a pretty good community. So I know we're getting off on a tangent here, but it's
no. Let's add in. Ken is a little bit. He was at the Santa Claus you were at the mall talking to Santa Claus, right?
Yeah, I decided to skate through the middle of the ice and just give a nice shoulder check to the goalie, and he flopped on the ground like a fish. And it was 10 minute or 12 minutes. What did I get? 12-minute penalty. What did you think of that? Dodonov going through there and lighting the goalie up, and then everyone yapping about it being a flop. Get out of here.
If there's anything I can count on, it's you coming in hot, Ken. Boy, you are so on brand today.
It's
amazing. Man, he went through the crease and he hit the goalie. And like, I don't think people understand that once you're set in your position and you get hit, like you're not trying to sell a call. You're trying to get back as quick as you can to make a save. Like you're really worried about the next shot going in.
Right.
Yeah, man, that was a penalty straight up. He went through the crease.
Pretty clear. That's something that kind of bugs me is like they go back and they challenge them a lot of times. And obviously in this case, the Golden Knights don't have to challenge that because you're going to lose. But like, isn't it every single time it's goalie interference and we take a goal off, they're pretty much all should be 2 minutes. And they very rarely actually get the 2 minutes. Like that one was really clear. Yeah. But like, shouldn't they get that more often?
I feel like it's such a fine line in terms of how hard a hit may be, like, and this one was pretty, I've had these hits before. And like, if you can't see somebody coming, it really doesn't take that big of an impact to really knock you off, like off your senses and off your positioning, right? Like almost always. And this is something that goalies can really understand a lot better, speaking from the position of having this happen. Okay. Like, I mean, I play forward in the summer, but I haven't played with anybody checking since I was 12. Okay. So like, so like I can be very honest and say that I think this is something that happened to a player or a defenseman, but I can't say it with full certainty without conferring with them a lot of times. Okay. It's what I think I saw. This case here, man, like he got hit. Stolarz got hit. He wasn't expecting it, and it knocks him way off. And it came right through the crease and it was pretty heavy. And I think the biggest thing is just trying to, obviously the league doesn't want the goalies to be hurt. Like, I'm watching, you got to protect the goalies for a lot of reasons, but look at tonight's game. I'm watching St. Louis and Tampa Bay, and like St. Louis has an e-bug. They have an emergency backup.
Skating around with no helmet.
No bucket in warmups.
What a knucklehead.
Huge flex. Huge. Well, the team put him up to it. And then,
of course they did.
But then like Husso, midway through the third, gets run over and he's sitting in the net, and you're thinking,
oh boy.
I mean, like, this is why I wrote an article a couple weeks back about teams carrying third goalies. It's this fear. So yeah, you got to protect them. And it probably, I can understand how people think it doesn't look to be like,
he shoulder checked him in the chest. What do you want?
That's what I saw. So.
Like, come on. How much have we talked about the mustache? Are we just going to We're just gonna
we hit
gloss
on
over
it.
the mustache.
Yep. No, we hit
All
on
right,
it.
good.
Hey. This is pretty thick. I'm gonna get up closer to folks.
Yeah, that is thick.
We're gonna call Austin Matthews. His was a tad on the wispy side. I tell
I
you,
can't really hear you when you lean forward that much because your microphone is omnidirectional.
Well, how
Austin Matthews. Austin Matthews looks like a French detective. You know what I mean? With that little. It's
I
like
I didn't get the press release. Apparently, there was a press release that he was shaving it off, and I didn't get it.
He did. He got rid. Well,
his was the press release.
His was wispy. So,
how did you decide how far down it was going to go?
Well, practice.
Yours goes a little further down than I think I would have gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't want to cut it off here.
I mean, you don't want to go too tight. I would agree with that.
So, I don't know. I think I'm kind of looking to frame my upper lip, like if you can imagine a frame. But man, what's funny, man, I'm 38 years old. I really couldn't grow a mustache until I was probably 30. And now I'm proud. You know, I'm really proud of this.
What happened before? It just didn't connect, or what? I feel like once the hair grows in, like that's it. Like with Jason, can't do any of it, but
it was a slow burn.
It doesn't connect.
I had to get gray hair before I could have a mustache. I think that was the trade-off, the genetic trade-off. I'll have
to find mine. We'll pull mine up at some point here. I had the playoff beard the first season, the SinBin.vegas situation, and then I went for the mustache for about 8 minutes. We took one picture. It was bad. It was very, very Super Mario-esque. I think I heard, I launched the show on the way back. Did you say you're a little bit nervous that they're not going to make the playoffs?
I said I have a little bit of nervousness.
How, like, give me like a percentage of nervous.
25, 30. I don't think crazy.
Oh, man, that's kind of high.
But that's my nervousness level, okay? And the reason being that, you know, Jason and I were talking about is that teams in the Pacific are playing well, man. Like,
I mean, it's definitely a well-rounded division now all of a sudden.
Like, I think we thought Calgary would probably fall off at some point, and they're not. And Anaheim's still going, and San Jose's still there.
The Patsies aren't there anymore. Like, the last year, there were 4 Patsies. You know, this year, Seattle looked like they were going to be one, and like Vancouver, it was 2-0 here 6 minutes into the game. Like Seattle,
even LA's lurking, you know. Like I just it's the only reason. Like I just don't think it's a layup. Like I think they're going to make playoffs. I do. I don't think it's a guarantee.
I think it's like your feet are in the paint, and you know there's a tall guy, and you kind of just put it up over him, bank it in, like Tim Duncan, fundies, like that should go. You know, you should make that 4-footer.
Yep.
But I'm with you. I'm liking the Santa decorations there too. We got a lot going on here. Is it say Jason Jr. or are there 2 Jasons? How do we differentiate? How do I know what to put into each stocking?
Okay, ready? So this one here, this was made for me when I was, I don't know, 35 years ago, right?
Oh,
I'm not 35, but when I was 5, somebody made it for us. Anyways, so now my mom went up and made one for the rest of my family.
Oh, Mike got the blue. Oh, there he's back. Okay.
I'm here. I tell you what, guys, my nose is running. I just sneezed off air. I muted it for that, and I just didn't see anybody wipe my nose because I didn't want to look like a slob. So
I would have liked.
I thought I'd go off camera for that.
I do not have one for Ken.
Yeah, why not? Well, I agree. You should have one for me. I get some. I'm very bah humbuggy. I don't do much. You know, Mike, I'm a big coal guy.
Mike, Shocking. Over the next month, you and I have to turn. We have to turn Ken until he has no spirit, no holiday spirit. We got to rub off on him a little bit.
I think I need to get on a plane out there and put up like.
No.
I think we need a crowdfund.
No.
A Christmas light fund for Ken.
No.
Because there's no way you have more than like a lit palm tree out there, Tops. Wow.
Oh my God. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Not bad.
That's great.
That is scary.
Yeah, it was this. This was the full SinBin.vegas.
Yeesh.
Okay.
Yeah, they let me into the nation's capital airport like that. I was very surprised.
I think we should definitely crowdfund us some some Christmas lights, and I
Nope.
will put them up for you.
No,
the
we
nice
should not do
curtains.
that. Can we? Let's. Did anyone happen to mention who this show is presented by before I came here?
Well,
We did, but why don't you
Jason,
transition
Why don't
to
we
a
do
nice?
it again?
I
Goal
think we
should.
Interference is brought to you by the Jimerson Law Firm. The Jimerson Law Firm is one of Las Vegas's preeminent law firms, specializing in high-stakes business, civil, and family litigation. When winning matters, seek out the Jimerson Law Firm. Golden Knights not doing a lot of winning, and a lot of fans think it's Robin Lehner's fault. Is it?
No.
Just a flat-out no. They've given up 71 goals in 22 games, and it's a flat-out no.
It's not his fault. Okay. If you're looking to assign blame to one person, no.
So who am I assigning blame to? Jason?
Because this is a hockey. This is
I'll
hockey.
take it.
This isn't football where you can just kill a quarterback and say this guy's brutal. Like,
I'd never do such a thing.
Here's the thing. People are getting a taste of a mediocre hockey team right now. Okay. And they haven't had that in Vegas. And I only say mediocre because the team isn't just thumping people left and right, and they're giving up way too many scoring chances against. Have they been better about it? Yeah. Was Robin Lehner great the last 2 games? They weren't his best. Okay. The Edmonton game, simply too many odd man rushes against. Saved a handful of them. Didn't save enough of them, but he saved a handful of them. Okay. And the quantity of those that they're giving up against a team like Edmonton is not conducive to winning, period.
Yep.
You can't allow that many.
Don't play their game.
You get lulled into this false sense of security where people go, well, we're used to those saves being made. Like, well, I think a lot of it with Robin to me, and like there were 2 goals I didn't like against Anaheim, straight up. Like I think they should have won a game against Anaheim. I didn't like.
So, I mean, that's fault right there.
That's 1 game's worth. And that's where you're saying is this whole thing. But it's also the fact the team was loose again, like in the way that they're allowing these, man. Like these rush chances against I always graded the teams I played on by the number of rush chances we gave up. That was my metric for how well we played. If we gave up 2 or 3 rushes in a game, okay, we were fine.
No big deal, yeah.
But you get up to 5, 6, like especially like I say against an Edmonton, like, and this is what I think is troublesome. It's the good teams are making Vegas look very, very average right now. They're not beating the good teams. Carolina comes in and win. Edmonton wins. Even the Ducks win. St. Louis
Islanders,
wins.
They're not even good.
Yeah, I mean, St. Louis, they found a way to lose against St. Louis on some rush chances against.
Yep.
And I'm hesitant with that. I didn't like Raquel's goal on Lehner. He stayed down for a long time. The puck ends up going over him. He didn't get to his edges. I didn't like Drysdale's goal where he was going into a 2-pad stack kind of premature because he was a little late on arrival. And from the goalie standpoint, it usually always goes short side. So if that shot goes short side, he's fine. But Drysdale's got his head up, and like super smart play from Drysdale to take a look.
What about the short side, the little missed tip one? Guy funnels it in front. It looked like they were going to tip it. He kind of came off his post thinking he was going to defend the tip. You're good with that one?
Lindholm.
Yeah.
Lindholm's goal was the one from the point that was filtered through everything. And the reason I thought it was there was moving traffic. Okay. Like if there's stationary traffic in front of a goaltender,
that's the one where White Cloud's in front of him, right?
Yeah. But White Cloud moves across him as it goes. If it's stationary and a puck goes by a goalie, if the players in front of the goalie are stationary and the goalie can't find it, that's on them.
Yes.
Moving screens are the hardest thing to deal with because you're locked on it. You have a clear lane and all of a sudden somebody comes across you as the puck's being shot. You can't find it like that.
Right.
And they look terrible. They do. They look
well because you look like you're clueless in the goal when really you kind of are because where's the puck? I don't know. You're not. Right. You're not trying to stop the puck. You're actually trying to locate it. And he looked. I think I'm more talking about. I think it was the Manson one.
Yeah,
he activates off the blue line around Janmark, who's flat-footed.
Yep.
Sends a pass in front, or what looked like was going to be a pass in front, and I think Leonard just abandons the post.
No, it went off Pietrangelo.
It went off somebody.
Went off Pietrangelo's skate.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing he could do.
Okay.
So, but here's my thing. I don't think people are quick to give Robin Lehner credit, and it's been like for a long time with him because of how he plays. It's not fluid. It's not very dynamic. It can look clumsy at times.
Calculated cheating, he calls it.
Yeah. Well, whatever he wants to call it, his numbers are real. Okay. And we're going to deal with numbers. We're talking about numbers. His numbers are real.
This year, though.
But we start to look at the last couple games, right? They haven't been to that level. They're down a bit, but he's facing a huge amount of high danger chances that he hasn't faced a lot. And like, you put a solid D in front of Robin Leonard, and that guy's going to make saves big time. Like, he doesn't get beat clean a lot on anything other than rush chances. But again, he does not look graceful in the net. And that's what makes people nervous is, you know, you make one save and then you're on your back or you're on your belly and he doesn't recover as quickly or to his posts like some others. And I really think this factors because people are so used to seeing the most explosive, dynamic goalie in the game in Marc-Andre Fleury. That's their reference point in Vegas, especially folks who were new to the game.
But what about coaches? What about coaches, Mike? I always have a theory that specifically with Pete DeBoer, when he came in here, Fleury's style made him nervous. And he never really wanted to rely on that, even though last year he was a Vezina winner, so he had to play him in the postseason. I think that style makes coaches nervous. Am I right on that?
I think Pete DeBoer was just nervous because he saw what happened in playoffs when Fleury allowed 5 goals in a period and a half. That's my only guess. Okay. Like I do
insane, isn't it?
But
the guy's like first ballot Hall of Famer. The guy has won 3 or 2 Stanley Cups. Like he's been like, what are we doing here? He had a bad 4 minutes.
Listen, all I'm telling you is what sticks in coaches' minds. Okay. And amongst coaches, there's also the remembrance that Marc-Andre Fleury blew a couple of playoffs for Pittsburgh before they got a new goalie coach. And he started to have post integrations that were modern that allowed him to win again in the National Hockey League. Like he was behind the technical curve in Pittsburgh when they were having troubles in playoffs.
Explain modern post. What did you call it?
Post integrations.
Modern post integrations. Just dumb that down for Jason.
Please.
Marc-Andre was getting killed on bad angle shots and net drives in Pittsburgh and at bad times in playoffs. Okay. And I know this is pre-Vegas, way pre-Vegas. So, but he was getting crushed on it. And he was going one leg up on his post and he was getting caught in between and pucks were going in. And nobody had taught him how to utilize a new technique that was called RVH that everybody uses now, that Marc-Andre is very good at now, that Robin Leonard is very good at now, that everybody is at this point. And you still had all these old school goalie coaches around the league, half of them or so, that just didn't have a clue. And he was behind the technical curve for a bit. And as soon as they brought somebody else in, Mike Bales is who it was. And Mike Bales got him up to speed and his game took off, man. So he changed that. But there's also the memory in coaches' heads across the league that, hey, like he's done this before. Whatever reason, I think this is just me guessing. I thought Pete DeBoer trusted Robin Leonard more.
He clearly
did. That seems to be what it played out to be.
I mean, let's be honest. He asked for him.
Yeah. If you play well in front of Robin Leonard, he will win you games, and he will occasionally steal. I thought he's been good early in games quite often. But these last 2, like it hasn't, I mean, we don't have a shutout all year. The Vegas does,
only 2 times they've allowed 1.
And so, that's your difference right now. Like there has not been a dominating statement game from a goalie. Maybe Brissois.
I was going to say the best one is the Brissois Dallas game. Yeah.
And I think we get a little clouded by one massive save in that too. It was a great game. And I bet Robin would punch me and tell me which games he's stolen this year, because I know there's probably been a couple that I'm not giving.
A couple in the first period for sure.
I know that this is partly in my head, but like, there's no big shutout. There's no big 41 for 43, for 41 for 42, like pure steal games, right? And that's what like Leonard's a really consistent goalie in how he makes saves. He really is. And Fleury was more up and down, man. Like when he was feeling the flow, he could be unbeatable.
Unreal, yeah.
He really could. Like if he's feeling it, dude, like I one game, guys, I'm going to go on a tangent, but I'm going to tell you kind of a story that feeds into the mentality of pro hockey players. I'm playing for Ottawa and we're playing against Washington at home. And Ovi's just snapping it around, dude. Like he went between his legs and threw a head high sauce pass through the neutral zone right on Backstrom's plate. And I look up and I'm just like, dude, we're losing 4-1 and this guy's doing this. And like, I remember Oshie stops in front after I gloved the puck, and I've known Oshie for a while. And I was like, man, we're getting killed. And he's out here like embarrassing us. And he's like, man, when he's feeling it, like he's just having fun. I was like, man, this is gonna be a long night, you know? And that's kind of that same type of mentality. Like the Flower was just, God, when he feels it, like he's had a couple of games like that for Chicago this year.
Yeah.
But he can have some abysmal games too. You know what I mean?
Is that in Leonard's arsenal? Like, I feel like you need some of that to go through and win a cup. Like, you get that from Vasilevsky. You got that from Binnington. Holtby had the game of his life in game 2 that's probably saved that series, that helped them win. Like, Fleury's done it. Quick did it. You know, Crawford to a degree. Like, does this guy have it? Does he have that ability to get you 16 playoff wins? And when you need that one, is it there for you for him? Like, can you get that?
Well, I think you can win with him. Yes, absolutely. I think, but you have to play hockey in front of him. You can't just press and go the other direction.
And can you do that for 2 straight months?
And that's the big challenge the Golden Knights are going to face, because again, I flip this back. The good teams are shutting down their breakout. They're shutting down their neutral zone. They're not letting Vegas wind it up and play on the rush like they want to.
Yep.
And the power play still sucks. So,
they scored twice yesterday.
I know that, but overall, man, it is not strong.
They have more power play goals than shorties now. They didn't for a minute there.
Yes.
It was 5-5 for a second there. And then
let's see how that plays out over the next 10 games with Pacioretty back in the lineup, and we'll reassess the power play.
I still think it's going to suck.
But if it gets back up to par, man, they need that, and they've got to stop allowing rush chances.
What's par now for them? 15? Like, if it gets to 15, we're all jumping for joy. Like, I'm getting one of those little celebratory popper things.
We're looking at bottom 10 still.
Yeah, like I don't think it's pushing much over 12.
But like, it is. They're arguing. They're going to be fighting. They're going to be fighting against the 0 for 40 or whatever it was at the start of the year. So like,
but even if you just say, okay, starting today, Pacioretty came or whatever, when Pacioretty comes back, and you take the next 40 power plays, like they're going to get 5, 6.
I sure
like,
hope so.
I just don't see them being a team that's suddenly going to snap off 10 out of 20. That doesn't happen when your entries are mixed and okay to average, and your puck movement is abysmal. Like even the one last night, Pacioretty snaps one into the top corner, beautiful shot. 5 seconds before, he takes the same shot into a dude's skates that just happens to bounce out towards the Golden Knights. If that puck bounces out a different way, which it does a lot, that possession's gone. They're changing, and off they go without another one. Like, I just feel like they're so reliant on luck.
There's luck is the residue of design.
Thanks a lot, Einstein. Who is that one? Like,
that's actually a friend of ours who has been called Einstein because he kind of looks like him. This shout out to Mark Weber, who will be entering the Sports Car Club of America Hall of Fame racing for 50 runoffs. He has that painted on his race car. Luck is the residue of design.
Wow. What is it again? Say it again.
Luck is the residue of design.
Luck is the residue of design. I'm gonna get it like right here.
That's probably a good, maybe your lower back would be a good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Tramp stamp. Luck is the residue of design. Right up there. I like that.
So, I still don't like the power play. I mean, Dodonov is like, they
can't get him the puck.
No.
He sits in there and he's battling, and it's like, hey, that guy, give it to him. And then he gets it and he bumps it right back out. I don't want this. Panic.
And even then you hear, stoned to Dodonov. Oh, picked off. Like, and that's with a pretty good puck mover because they're sitting on it.
Nick Waugh touches the puck. It's like nuclear.
Yeah, Nick shouldn't be on the power play unless
Oh
he's
my
in front of the
God.
net.
I'm sorry. I love Nick Waugh. A great kid, but oof.
Put him in front of the net if that's where you want him. That's where he belongs. But
Well,
Mike, I want to go
don't let
back
him touch
to
the puck.
Mike. I want to go back to you were talking about Fleury and Leonard. Fleury clearly rubbed off on his teammates when he did something insane in net, flopped all over the place. His guys got right behind it. They got some energy. Not saying that the teammates aren't behind Leonard, but does his style sort of, slow down that energy that
drag you into the
off?
fight?
Yeah.
Teammates want saves, period. But I mean, Flower has an intangible that nobody else has in the game. Goalies, I don't think, and really, I don't know if anybody else has the intangible he has.
Not many
That's just
humans. Yeah.
who he is, man.
Yeah.
And so I don't think you can even compare those two or to anybody else in that way. There's not many that play that same type of heartbeat of a team role into it, the way Fleury plays it. Like that mischievous, childlike outlook is. It's just so rare
The
nowadays.
accent. He just says stuff and you just have to laugh.
But I mean,
I want the donut.
I can tell you now though, like having played with Robin, like when Robin speaks, you listen, man. Like that's a guy
it's a different kind of commanding. I mean, he's a hulking presence. He says something. Yeah, I'm nervous in the press conferences. I'm like, I better pay attention because he's going to yell at me.
But that's why, because he's a very analytical person. I mean, he puts stock into everything that's done and he gives honest answers. Like his quotes after Edmonton, like basically we're saying we're kidding ourselves if we think we're going to win if we play against that team like that. And people don't like to hear that from goalies.
Why is that?
Because they just want goalies to shut up and stop the puck. Do you know how many times in our lives we've heard just shut up and stop the puck?
Gerard Gallant loves that.
It's like you literally can't have knowledge or an opinion of what's going on in front of you because
shut it, idiots.
It's seen as you criticizing your teammates, which it's not. It's an honest evaluation, and we see everything in front of us.
Yeah,
everything in front of us. There's no better person to ask about how a team's playing than a goalie, but we're supposed to just shut our mouths because we're goalies.
Until you retire, and then you go on the VGK post-game show, and then you come on here. We're going to throw Jason out of there, and we're going to bring in the one, the only, Principal Derek.
How's it going, Ken?
What's up, buddy? What do we have today? What do you have for us?
Hi, Derek.
Well, Mike, great mustache. Liking it.
Thank you.
I'm waiting for Ken to grow a mustache.
No, I'm
admiring your bookcases.
You missed it? Here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's not good.
Wow.
No.
Well, enjoy it. I only got a couple more days. By next week, it'll be gone.
Oof.
What do you got for us?
So I was going to ask about your evaluation of Leonard, but you've already gone down that road way too long today. But so I was going to switch up a bit and talk a little bit about what are your thoughts on why they're not playing Brossoit? If Leonard's struggling so much, why are they not putting Brossoit in?
So, well, I think let's quantify it by saying I do not believe Leonard is struggling. Okay, I think that I don't think he's played his best hockey, but I don't think he's played poorly.
Give me a grade. B plus.
I would say B- range right now, which is probably just B, maybe, I guess, at most B-. Like again, because I didn't like the game. I didn't like a couple goals against Anaheim. I thought that game got away. The team probably should have won. But to your point, though, I do think we should have seen a bit more Brossoit by now. I do. I think from a standpoint that, as much as Robin Leonard wants the net, we all want the net every single game. He's also performed really well in tandem roles previously. And I don't think you go to a tandem here by any stretch, but I think you bridge that gap somewhere between a 2/3 to 3,
18 to 4.
Every, 1 out of 3 games to 1 out of every 4. Like my ratios here are terrible. I got to get my math major wife in here to help me out.
He's played 82% of the games, so that would be 1 to 5.
And that's too much in my eyes. I do. And I think
that's an A plus math.
I think what's kind of predicating this is that teams just want to run their goalies hot, some of them until the Olympic break, because they figure they're going to get time off to rest.
They're not going, though.
And we discussed that previously.
I know. I heard a little.
I I'd be surprised if they went, honestly. When
The
push
All-Star
comes to
game is
shove.
the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, now that I think about it.
Oh,
Brian,
best thing ever,
you
though.
brought this up. Like,
Could've been.
hey, we're having a hard time with
So-
COVID. What should we do? Bring all one player from every single team to the same area and have them party.
They're going to have him
Brilliant.
hunker down. But
Brilliant.
I would like to see Brossoit play more. And it's not just for a Robin Leonard factor, it's for a Brossoit factor, because one injury and this guy hasn't played. And your confidence as a backup goalie, like at least Brossoit's done this before.
A lot.
Mentally, he knows how to do this from playing behind Hellebuck. And that's a reason why he was a good fit. And he does play a similar style to Leonard, but he's cold. Like the dude hasn't played in, I mean, now 2 weeks.
It's 5.
Right?
It's 5 games or 6 games now. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's to the point I can't remember the last start.
His last game was November 20th against Columbus.
Yeah. So we're more
A
than
win.
2 weeks out. And in my eyes, you need to be playing every 4. I really think that. Pete DeBoer's always ridden his goalies heavy. Look at what he did with Martin Jones in San Jose, man. He just rode that guy until he could not do it anymore. He likes to play one goalie. And with the schedule now, when they're not back-to-backs, teams are hesitant to do that. They think, I've got a starter, we can just play him.
But he's going to play tomorrow, I think.
He'll play, I mean, against Arizona, it's a good time to do it for sure. Especially with a heavy load, Calgary, Dallas, Philly. You're going to want Leonard for those, but then you got Minnesota. Like, there's no easy days.
I want to throw just the ridiculously simple numbers, and I'm not one that goes down this path. I'm really not. I promise you, I'm not this guy. But it's alarming. These are Leonard's goals allowed in the 5 games he's played: 2-2, 4-2-2. That was Brossoit. 2-2, 4-2-2. Where Leonard is 5-3-2, 5-2. And then it goes on 2-4-4, 2-2, 1-4-4, 2-1-4. Like, are they getting enough stops out of him to be playing him 80%? Even if you're like, we need these games, like, are they getting enough stops? Like, is it not fair at some point to just say, hey, I can't have 4. I don't care how many chances they give up. I can't have 4. It can be 3. Or is that just too simple, and it's like, just throw your blocker at me and say shut up?
He's a starting goalie. He's being paid like the starting goalie. He's going to be the starting goalie.
What about the backup goalie being paid higher than a backup goalie, though?
I'm throwing hockey mentality at you.
I hate hockey mentality,
and
so
that's
much.
what it is. And
I'm gonna write a book.
But you want to give your players the chance to play. You want to give your goalie a chance to keep playing often too. Like, last game. Like, again, against Edmonton, I don't fault him for Edmonton at all. Like the sheer quantity.
You only gave up 3 in that game. Like, I
got to
live
bring him
with
out
3.
against Anaheim again, and Anaheim wasn't his strongest game. It wasn't. I just don't think that we've seen that defining game from Robin in a while. Like, I think that you've got to play Brossoit a couple of times here in the next week or two, if nothing else, just to give him a little break going into this. Like, there's a lot of hockey. There's a big road trip. I like your
New
point.
York. It's tough. That's a tough road trip. Boston, all the New Yorks.
100%.
Derek, what's behind you there? We have, is that books?
Mini leather-bound books.
Yeah, I'm in my study.
That is nice. It looks like you look very intelligent, I'll say. Like, you look at me and you're like, what is behind him? Some pucks, a bobblehead, some Tomas Hika's glove. I mean, Mike, you're like, yeah, probably a professional athlete with all the jerseys. You're like, just books. Like, this dude's smarter than me. So I'm going to throw you out of here.
Oh, jeez. Thanks, Derek.
Thanks, Ken.
I promise.
Thanks, Mike.
You're very welcome. I will meet you in person and smile at you.
Principal Derek is the best. A huge bin ball supporter from the beginning. Before I throw you out of here, thank you, as always, for coming to bin ball every year and being a diehard bin ball fan. We love you for that.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you for calling in. We'll put Jason's. What is this? Oh, geez, this is a long comment. That comment like literally knocks Mike off the screen. So we're gonna. I'm sorry, but Leonard is definitely a major part of the losses. Our team has looked like this before, but Marc-Andre Fleury was the winning factor. He nailed that team out of games. What is that? He nailed that team out of games that they should have lost. That's what a Hall of Fame goaltender does. See Carey Price for the Canadiens. It's interesting. I mean, you agree with that at all?
Well, I mean, everybody's a part of losses. Like, but to say he's been a major part of losses, like, I think that's a little bit overboard to say that. I do.
I think
like,
I agree with you there.
I think that's goalie shaming 101 is to just
But
put the
that's
fault
fun,
on
though.
one.
Yeah,
Well, it's
that's
not
fun.
for that's why we all quit.
I
That's
know.
why we all stop when we're done.
I know.
I mean, dude, the season before Fleury went through a lot of stuff in the 1920 season with his father passing and injury and everything. Fleury wasn't great that year, man. Like,
no, it was bad.
Okay,
it was bad. It was good for the beginning, and then he was bad for all the time he was battling through that, and then he was bad when he came back, and then Leonard came in and he was fine, and he lost his job during COVID.
The season before that, he was league average.
Slightly above.
The season before that, the first season in Vegas,
he was amazing.
He was sick.
Yeah,
and
unreal.
Last year, he was sick, especially for the first half of the year.
Especially because they played all crap teams.
Well, whatever we're going to say with regards to that. My point is that Marc-Andre Fleury wasn't invincible. And, you get a pass. I'm just telling you with Robin, it's just because he's not graceful. That's the biggest thing. He just doesn't have the same fluidity that Fleury had, and everybody's used to that as your reference point. And I think that's going to be the defining factor. And it does, I will say this, and I agree with it, that I do worry about really good teams being able to expose that. I do. Because they understand lateral movement is what causes problems, and they can snap it around and when they find lanes. But that's true against any goalie, not just Robin. It just doesn't look as pretty.
One comment that came up, and I'm not gonna act like this is my comment at all. I don't even remember who. I'm just gonna throw it out there. No, I'm just gonna throw it out there just in case you decide to shoot it down horribly. He had shoulder injury, had shoulder surgery in the offseason. It does seem like teams are going high glove, high blocker on him. They're definitely trying to get the puck up. Anything there?
Nothing. His stats are pretty much across the board. I looked at his shot map today on where
confirmation bias for me, I think.
Robin Leonard is actually massively consistent from blocker to glove side.
Okay.
He's pretty much, when you put that shot map up, it's pretty equal. Which is interesting. You put it up for Marc-Andre Fleury, and he was roasted high blocker for a lot of years. And you can find this for different goalies.
The numbers are out there. I think that is one that we fall into confirmation bias a lot. You see one go in, and you're like, ooh, they're shooting high glove. Then he stops 3, and you're like, ooh, they're really shooting high glove. They score another one, and now the next 3 weeks, you're like, high glove. Like, I know that happens. One of the comments that irked me quite a bit recently, after the Edmonton game, they come in and you get what like you said about Leonard saying that wasn't Vegas hockey. We're giving up too many breaks. These types of things are happening. This is not the way we play. He called it not Vegas hockey last night. Yep. Then in between those games, Marchessault marches in and basically says we played better than Edmonton in that game. If not for the 5 or 6 mistakes that led directly to their goals, we played better than them. And to me, like, that really irks me as someone who's sitting here saying that is why you lost the last 2 seasons. Yeah. Like, why is that? What's going on there? Is he? What am I missing?
Marshy's a little prone to that thinking.
But it's real though, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, we played together, and he always thought we played better than the other team. So, like, there's some guys that always think that. And listen, like, I love Marshy. Like, dude, like, he was a great teammate and everything.
He's great.
Like, he does pretty much believe that they always played better, And so, like, I love that optimism a lot of the time. But I always had problem with that type of thinking, or that type of outward thinking, because
you can't get better.
It was exactly what I told you guys earlier, that if we allowed 6 odd man rushes, even if we outshot a team 50-20, we still didn't play well because we didn't play well defensively. Right. That's my mentality with it. And again, it's more of a goalie mentality. Because, like, you can look on the macro scale of that game against Edmonton where they did out high danger chance
when they were losing.
They did. They out high danger chanced them.
I agree. They did
But
do
man,
that.
they didn't get 16 out,
Right.
2-on-1s and odd man like.
And they did a lot of it down 3-0. Like, you better out high danger chance, and when it's 3-0.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, even the game against St. Louis a week or a week and a half ago that they basically lost in the span of 3 minutes in the second period. It was like they forgot how to play for 4 minutes.
Yep.
St. Louis buried them, and then St. Louis just sat on it.
And
honestly, St. Louis was lucky that game to get out of it because Vegas did press so hard, but they didn't get it done.
And see, that doesn't bother me all that much. Like, if you have a lapse as a team for 5 minutes here on a Wednesday on the road, whatever, I'm not going to worry about that. My issue is it's been all season long. It's like these lapses. It's like, is it the first period or the second period that they're going to lapse? I think it's like 9 or 10 games in a row that the one team has been up 2-0. And in like half of them, the game becomes tied or close to tied. Did they ever tie it last night? No, right?
No,
never actually got back in there. I just think that we've talked about it, attention to details, getting back to being the defensive style of team that they should be. They won the President's Trophy last year, and this year they're absolutely nowhere close. But I have positive news. Look at this. Look at this for positive news. Watch this. Look at this. That's Jack Eichel. That is Jack Eichel right there.
Ahead of schedule, Jack Eichel.
I mean,
this was a little bit of a paparazzi shot somewhere in North Carolina, but
I like a paparazzi.
He wasn't supposed to be on the ice for another 2 weeks. So
look at him. Look at him going. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at him going, skating in circles, carrying his stick. Oh, it's beautiful.
Give it a crossover, Jen. There's a crossover. Oh yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Look at his.
What do you think he's feeling? What do you like? What kind of what is his body feeling right there?
Well, let's just talk about him in general very quickly. I think he's feeling the biggest relief on earth to be on the ice. And like, you want to talk about somebody who's probably happier than shit right now, it's Jack Eichel that he's on the ice. And he finally has that surgery behind him. I actually, man, I'm thinking about this right now. I feel so happy for Jack Eichel, like to just finally have that done. But you'd be amazed how long we can take time off the ice and go back out there and just feel like it was yesterday. Like he was skating, I guess, in Buffalo, even leading up to the trade and everything. So I'm sure he's trying to feel it out. I think right now he's probably trying to gauge, kind of what his neck feels like in general.
How much can I do?
Like, yeah, I'm sure it's very, very exploratory and under supervision in terms of when to push, if you can at all. But I think it's just the mental aspect of even being on the ice is just critical. It's huge, man. Like, guys, I hadn't played goalie in a year and a half, and I got 1 day of practice, and I just felt like, I smiled for 2 days, like I was back, like briefly, like to what I once was. But it's when you love it, man. He had neck surgery, Ryan.
Well,
you'd actually be surprised.
He's got a fake disc in there. He's doing fine. Shout out to Brandon Wong Hockey for that clip. By the way, if that clip at the beginning, it's hilarious. There's the right when they turn it on, there's a comment, and the guy says like, "Oh, who's he with now?" And like it makes it seem like it's Eichel they're talking about, and they're clearly not. And then I think what probably happens, like in any other clip, and I've done this 1,000 times, like, shut the fuck up. I'm taping you. Can you relax? Like I'm filming over here. Like, you have to do that, give the old nudgeroo, but it's great. That I was pumped to see that. Like that one came out of complete nowhere. It popped on my Twitter. Somebody's like, "Is this real?" And I clicked and like,
man, it's great news for Vegas.
It's real.
It's great news for the Golden Knights.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's
he's ahead of they said he wouldn't be on the ice for 6 weeks, and it was November 2nd. He had the surgery. I believe, if my timeline's off, I apologize to everybody involved, but man, that's great news. It really is. Like I'm truly am excited to see him put on a Golden Knights jersey and see how that works. Really.
I agree. It's going to be very interesting. I am a little bit concerned of what has to happen to make that happen. I'm a little bit concerned of what the team looks like. If all of a sudden they're a 5-4 team when they just won the President's Trophy and bowed out because they couldn't score. I don't know. Let's go to a different topic. A couple of days ago, Max Pacioretty was on Alan Walsh's podcast. Shout out to Alan Walsh for having a podcast. It's fantastic. Every time I listen to guys on there, the ones where it's guys that I don't know, it's not as good. Like I know Pacioretty. I know Perron's episode was phenomenal.
Yep.
I could not get this. I heard this. I was watching a different game, and I literally cringed when I heard him say this. 4 cold tubs a day.
Mm-hmm.
4 a day for Max.
Torture.
Is he is he a psychopath or like what in the 4 a day?
Yeah, dude. Some guys love it, man. Like they'll get in.
I can't even drink 4 cold drinks in a day.
Well, that's gastrointestinal issues are tough, and I'm sorry you have to go through that, Ken. But there's plenty of guys that'll hop in the cold tub before practice, after, like if it's a game day. I'm sure
in between periods. He said first intermission.
Yeah, I've seen that. I saw Jaromir Jagr dunk his entire upper body in a half full Gatorade cooler once. That was a good one. In Winnipeg,
couldn't find the tub.
Dude, he put it in a Gatorade cooler. It was half full of like water and ice, and like he just went bang, gets up, and like
hopefully there's no Gatorade in there.
He walked across the room with no tarp on and just went right in the Gatorade tub. And like, I'm sitting next to Roberto Luongo. I'm backing up in Winnipeg for Florida, and I looked at Lou and I'm like, dude,
who is this person?
I like, it was the first game I dressed for Florida. I only dressed like 3, but I looked at Lou and I'm like, does he do this often? Like, this is a guy I grew up watching as a kid, like massive mullet running rampant for the Pittsburgh Penguins in '92. And this is like 20, 15, whatever.
Yeah, this man's on the video game cover.
Yeah. And Luongo looks at me with the funniest look on his face. He's like, I've never seen him do that before.
Were you a cold tub guy?
Never. No.
Why? Couldn't do
it? Cold.
Yeah, right?
Well, is Patch already said it shocks the system. I mean, couldn't you do other stuff to shock your body?
The system? He goes in there more like.
Yeah, right.
Man,
like 4 a day.
It should be good for your
He's
body.
used to it.
Yeah, it is. Well, it becomes routine. It's normal. Like that's just what he does. Like,
well, I was going to ask you different rinks that had good cold tubs and bad cold tubs, but if you've never been in a cold tub, then you probably don't know.
Well, I've seen them, and the funny thing is that a lot of these cold tubs and visiting rinks, especially like in the minors or in a game rink where they don't have like the full setup for stuff, it's guys quite literally a cattle trough.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like you're talking pull up to the farm and fill that sucker with water for your Holstein. Like, yes.
And then they just dump like the bag of ice from the grocery store in there.
Straight out of the ice machine, in the back of the joint. And I've seen some makeshift ice baths. Some places have good ones. Like, 2 guys will hop in at once. Like some guys wear like little booties on their feet, these little neoprene booties to keep their toes warm. Yeah, you want to see something funny? See a grown man walking around with just a pair of neoprene booties on his toes.
My pinky toe hurts. Like you're jumping in a cold bath that is 4 degrees. Yeah. Relax. I'm worried about another part of a man's body more than their pinky toe, but we're not going to dive into that. I would not be happy about that portion of it. But like, do you know any ones that are real good cold tubs? Because I'm ready to like dive into his stats here and like try it. Enough with my stash. I'm not. Stop it. Let's porn stash. Get out of here. But like, I want to find like the best cold tub and like see Max Pacioretty's second period stats. He has like 60 goals in like the TD Garden or something because their cold tub is sick. Like, do you know of any awesome cold tub setups?
No.
Again, T-Mobile, probably.
I wish I could give you a good one on this. Like, it is. I always thought it was funny when it was a cattle trough. It just made me laugh every single time. Like a big plastic. Can you imagine like being the rink guy working for some place, walking into like Tractor Supply and being like,
"We need one of these." Yeah, that looks great.
And you put down the company credit card, and it's like T-Mobile.
Yes.
And you're buying a cattle trough and you have to like wheel it in, like you're rolling it in.
And then there's the expense reports and the lady up in accounting is like, what are we buying? We're like, our players go in there in between periods.
Is that a cattle
Did we buy the cattle to go with that? No, it's for Pacioretty in the third.
All I can picture is going to a Chicago Cubs game and needing to relieve myself. If you guys,
yes, that's exactly
that's what I'm envisioning.
Yes,
yeah, it's a little.
Now we need to Photoshop Max Pacioretty into one of those.
Those troughs are very, they're very shallow. I promise I'm not a thief. Easy E.
Mike McKenna looks like a guy who stole my catalytic converter.
I prefer to steal copper out of street lamps.
That is
Joke, everybody. I'm joking. I'm not a
that
thief.
is
I don't
very,
steal copper.
very specific. Where are the Thanksgiving Day food pics? There was a tweet about you tapping out and taking a nap.
I did.
There was a tweet about where's the I want a turkey photo. I want some stuffing. Like what? I agree with Cody
cranberry
here.
sauce.
What is going on? Yeah.
I got to be honest, guys. I just absolutely hit the deck and didn't get pictures. I ate so much. I didn't burn the bird. I did put my turkey picture up. Okay, so I know for a fact that I had my turkey at least in my Insta story. So maybe
that one
I
disappears. Insta story. I hate those stories.
Well, that's
Snapchat.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So I
Ugh.
don't know. I'm looking through. I made some.
Gotta have something.
Yeah, I got the bird. I got. Here it is.
There we
got
go.
that, folks.
That looks nice. It looks nice and brown. I mean, the butt end looks a little blue for.
That's the lighting. That was
Why is it
blame that on
blue?
my closet. That's just the lighting.
You shocked it with a catalytic converter that you had just stolen.
Yeah, and then I beat it.
By the way, Pacioretty is on with us right now.
Oh, look at this, Christian B. Pacioretty.
Little burner.
Yeah.
No one loves cold tubs. You're lying. He's lying. I went in one of those. Remember when we went to that cryo chamber? You were there, right?
Yes.
We had like a potential sponsor, and they're like, "Hey, why don't you come try out the cryo chamber?" And they're like, we both were like, "Yeah, potential sponsor. We'll go do it." And then we're both staring at like this death machine of coldness. And we both went in there, and I don't sleep well anymore thinking about it.
My favorite's the picture of Phil Kessel in one of those babies. Yeah, just he looks crazy. Anyway,
miserable, just miserable.
So what do we think here, guys? We got some games coming
All right,
up. Arizona tomorrow.
Picks.
Can they beat Arizona tomorrow, fellas?
They better. I mean, if they lose to Arizona,
right, the answer is they better. Yeah.
Threat level midnight if we lose to Arizona here.
Arizona's basically giving up games, so
I mean they're horrible. Like that's at best an AHL team. That team's terrible, but it gets tough behind that. Like you've got Calgary at home, Dallas at home. We'll do the next goalie interference after that game. Then Philadelphia, who's playing like complete shit right now. Minnesota's decent, and then the big road trip, followed by some tough home games. Like this December schedule is not easy. No. And you got 10 games out of the division. I wrote it earlier today. The division's not been as kind to them as it's been. Like you probably want to get out of December in the playoff picture, right? Like I don't think you can drop all the way out here.
No, they need to be in playoffs by the end of December.
And if they're not, we're panicking.
No, I don't think you're panicking
does the front office panic?
Break.
They've never panicked before.
To their credit, I don't think I've seen many panic moves
from the Golden Knights front office
in real time during the season.
There was one time they fired their coach who was about to coach of the All-Star game and had just won a Jack Adams and was 3-2 in playoff series and is about to win another Jack Adams.
And they traded for a starting goaltender.
We're talking about players. Now, Robin Leonard at that time wasn't truly a starting goaltender. He'd been splitting. A guy could have been, but he'd been splitting. In any case, I will definitely give you the panic move on Gallant. That was
ridiculous, but
that was a surprise for sure. That was a shock to us all when it happened. But,
and DeBoer's been awesome. Like I'm not trying to take anything away from DeBoer when I say that. I just that was a ridiculous move. And then this guy goes and walks into New York, and guess what? Top 3 in Jack Adams voting if it's happened right now. Like the guy's a good coach, and they didn't quit on that guy. And I think the part that bugged me most was they set that season up to sell off all these pieces so then they could rebuy at the deadline. And then they're like, "You're not winning. You're out of here."
Yeah. Well, that's what happened, I guess. So.
All right, give me some picks.
Let's go here.
Everyone's picking Vegas. Do they allow at least 2 goals against Arizona? Or Swaz playing, I would think.
I would think so too. That's a worthwhile question.
1.
I don't think Arizona scores 2 goals.
4-1. I'm going 4-1.
I'm going to go 2 goals. I think Arizona scores 2.
Ooh,
I think
so
it's a
4-2,
3-2 game. 3-2 Vegas.
Okay, 3-2.
Yeah.
All right, then we're
4-2
into
empty netter. 4-2 empty netter.
Calgary at home on a Sunday night. I've been waiting all day for Sunday night.
I'm actually really looking forward to this game.
Yeah, me too.
I thought Calgary was so good the other night when I watched them against Pittsburgh. Damn, they're good. This is the one that I'm nervous about for Vegas. But Calgary's not crushing teams. That's the thing. You know? Like
They're
I'm
playing
gonna
good hockey. They're just playing very good hockey, yeah.
I'm gonna go 3-2 Calgary in this game.
Tough one.
I think Vegas, if nothing else, does have a habit of keeping games tight. Like even like the other night against the Ducks, they managed to make that a ball game in 30 seconds left. They don't roll over. Yeah.
No, and then that's always been the history of this team, and that's certainly a good thing. It's just it's a quality that becomes useless is a strong term, but it's not all that valuable in the postseason because it's like if you're down 3-1 in the postseason against a team that's just as good as you, like you could bust your ass as hard as you want. You're not getting back into that game. Like just unlikely to happen. I guess game 5 against Colorado turned the series, whatever. But all right, I'm gonna cop out. I'm going cop out here. I'm going 4 points in the next 3 games.
Wow.
Okay.
So that's a win against Arizona, and then I'm assuming they're going to get 2. What do you think about they don't lose in overtime? Like they don't get loser points, and like they could use if they have 9 losses, 10 losses, 12 and 10. If they got 3 loser points, you're in much better position right now.
Well, look at Calgary. Calgary's got 5 or 6 overtime.
Yeah, that's been carrying Calgary. They don't have many regulation wins. I mean, they do have regulation wins, but they're not in the same. I mean, they're not Edmonton in the regulation wins, right? I'm not looking at the standings, but I know that Calgary has like 7 extra inning wins. You know,
Yeah.
So,
here's
I think at minimum they get a point out of Dallas. So I think I think you're looking. Yeah, I mean
you're looking at what 3 to 4 points. I've got 4.
I think they should get 4. I do.
I don't have any massively updated news on Carlson. It's 10 days, COVID 10 days from, I believe it was Monday. It's possible he went in on Sunday. The last I saw him, he was walking around in a soft cast, the boot. So I don't think that's too far off. They get back on the ice pretty quickly after that thing comes off. Obviously, 10 days living in his room, not going to be ideal for conditioning. I think it's going to set him back probably 2 days from what it would have been. So I don't think it's a huge deal, but I think you're probably 2.5 to 3 weeks away.
He was expected, they're thinking mid-December, I want to say.
Yeah.
And
so it's probably late December now.
I would have to, I don't know, maybe not. Like, I don't think the COVID factor is really going to hurt.
I just think it's going to make conditioning harder.
It will. I mean, I would have to target realistically, I'd think, either the 13th or 20th. Like I wouldn't expect them to bring him on that road trip unless he was going to play.
Yeah, I would guess he does not go on the road trip.
That's a guess. Yeah, I'm totally guessing there.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably a good guess. Like, there's no reason to have him fly there if you're not 100% sure he's going to play in those games. If you don't go at the beginning, COVID world, you're probably not going. I guess maybe coming straight off the COVID, maybe they're like, screw it. Send him out there. We don't care. He'll be fine. But like, I would guess probably somewhere in that Tampa, LA, Colorado home series. I would imagine somewhere in there.
That would make sense.
You think he makes a huge difference in how they defend? Like, do you think all of a sudden Martinez and Carlson come back in and all of a sudden like odd man rushes are a thing of the past?
I think it helps because Carlson's so smart with his routes in the neutral zone. And especially I think Carlson might actually be his best at trying to think of the right terminology, but really at his own blue line, his decision making at his own blue line, when to jump, when to lay back. Like, he's just got a really good game feel. It's not as much predicated upon the D because it's truly been getting the puck to forwards, making smart decisions, and not trying to force too much. That's why it's coming back at him. Yep. So I think, absolutely. The team becomes more responsible with William Karlsson in the lineup. I do think they're pushing too much for rushes. I do think that they're still forcing the walls too much. I think the good teams have snuffed that out. But I've seen some adjustment. They have been willing to start flipping pucks. They have been willing to start using the middle a bit. So there's signs there. Karlsson will help with that.
What about Martinez? Obviously blocking shots You would assume Leonard's numbers go down a little bit, right?
What does this mean? SinBin gives off 5'9" energy. Is that like me or you?
I am about 5'9",
Yeah,
so
I'm
sure.
not. I'm 6'4".
I'm working for SinBin here, fellas. I'm 6'2", so let's go.
Yeah, so we got
There you go.
6'4", 6'2", and 5'9".
Anyway,
What does that mean? Is that like Napoleon complex? Like, what is a 5'9" energy? Like, is it a mean, angry little gentleman, or is it like?
I thought that
Well,
was
he
like
is
normal
flipping
size.
off. I don't know if you noticed
No,
his.
5'9" is not normal, is it?
Isn't that normal size? Isn't that normal height?
No,
I think he changed it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think it's that. It was like as if it was a 6 instead of a 5, and then there's a nice joke in there. No, I don't think it was that. I don't understand that part of it.
Anyway, Alec Martinez will make a big difference.
Anywho, this show should probably be ending. Thanks again to the Jimerson Law Firm for sponsoring Goalie Interference, and I'm sure he was really looking forward to getting some 69 jokes at the end of this show. And they came in just in time. I can't believe it had happened. But seriously, thanks to the Jimerson Law Firm. When winning matters, seek out the Jimerson Law Firm. Jimerson Law Firm's website is by Googling Jimerson Law Firm. It's not that hard to do. He is fantastic. Big-time Golden Knights fan. Cannot stop texting me about going to dinner with you. If we don't go to dinner with you, I will probably be punched in the face, which would not be the best for me. All right, that's it. You have any parting words? Parting words from Mike McKenna.
Yeah, man. I just think this team they've managed to get points. They've got to keep that going. They've got to take that next step, as I said at the beginning of the show, because it's not just a matter of getting points and waiting for the cavalry anymore. The cavalry's kind of coming and is here, and they need to start straight up winning more now because teams are better in the Pacific than we expected, and I don't see it changing much. So it's going to be fun.
The wife is on FaceTime and just said yikes to the McKenna stash.
No,
my wife actually says he pulls it off.
Oh, thank you.
I know. Miss Abby said, I think he pulls it off.
I was told that I looked
off the road.
I was told by several people that they couldn't decide whether I looked more like Freddie Mercury or George Michael.
Can you do that ridiculous Freddie Mercury thing that they put? I can't stand that video.
Oh,
no.
The
sound check and he'd yodel.
No.
Just do it. Come on, do it. The show's over.